Folks, we need to be clear on one thing. If indeed it is true that Bernard Otieno Okoth, Imran, was not properly elected as the ODM nominee for the Kibra seat election, then ODM are in trouble. That should be very clear. And also let's be clear on something else. I am not saying that the sensational claims made about how Imran got elected as the ODM nominee are true. I'm not saying that, because I have no conclusive evidence to prove to you that it is true. Therefore I cannot say it is true. I'm just saying, in case this man was not properly elected, then ODM are in trouble. Why are they in trouble? The ODM party is in trouble because the party has provoked voters who are already in a very ugly mood. Hii ni kama kwenda police station alafu naanza kurusha mawe ndani. Ati unataka kupiga officers na mawe. How can you throw stones inside a police station? And provoke to just go to a police station near you and you start throwing stones inside. What do you expect? Do you expect the officers to come out and calm you down? Tafadhali, boss, wacha kufanya hivyo. Wacha kurusha mawe. Kwa nini unarusha mawe? Wacha. Tafadhali enda nyumbani. Is that what you expect from the Kenya police? In the same way, if this man was properly elected, then there's no problem. ODM will sweep and they'll get the seat comfortably. Whatever McDonald, Mariga and company do. And so in my view, there's no point spending so many hours, so many emotional hours, arguing as to the authenticity of this story, when we only have to wait for November 7th. And then November 7th will show us clearly whether this story is true or not. That's simple. Now, by the way, for the sake of those who have not heard, maybe let me just repeat the story that is all over social media. Some screenshots, it's not known whether they're fake or they're the real thing, show conversations going on between Imran, the candidate for Kibra constituency, nomination ODM, having conversations with top-notch ODM officials, linked to the electoral board of the ODM party. And in one of those conversations, Imran is alleged to have said, I have come up, or rather, I have managed mitambili. In Kenyan language, what that means, I have managed to raise 2 million. And in the said conversation, the ODM official says that they are sending somebody to pick up the 2 million in exchange for a very exact number of ballot papers, 3,700. Allegedly, the whole idea was to get the ballot papers in advance, mark them appropriately as votes in favor of Imran, and then of course those votes would be stuffed in, or sneaked into the counting process, mixed with real votes. Happens all the time in nominations in Kenya. That's not new. Now, Philip Etale, the communications director of the ODM party, has come out very strongly and denied, the story. He has said there's nothing like that. The ODM nominations were free and fair. Now, you also need to be aware that there's a candidate from those nominations who has filed a complaint. Bwana Peter Orero, who was second in those elections with 1,218 votes, has filed a complaint, and he has said the winner had access to the voters' register. Now, the ODM High Command has already confirmed that this complaint will be resolved by the Dispute Resolution Tribunal of the party. We also know that during these ODM nominations, there were widespread complaints, and all the complaints were saying the same thing. People's names were missing, from the voters' register. Now, usually, when that happens, people resort to using the IEBC voters register, which the parties have. And what it means in all that confusion is that some people may not have been allowed to vote. Those are the facts. Yeah, you can join the dots or wait for the ODM Dispute Resolution Tribunal to tell us, what is going on here, if they will. But I want us to focus on something which, in my view, is more important than whether this particular story is true or not. And what is that? Let me start by asking a very simple question. Now, obviously, this story was leaked out by an interested party in this Kibra constituency seat. And whether that story is true or not is irrelevant, because this was a political move. The whole idea, of course, was to mess up the ODM party. Because let's face it, one would need access, and a lot of resources to be able to hack into private conversations. One would also need the same, although to a lesser amount, to fake the same. Bottom line, this was done by somebody with resources, and access. So my question is this: who is this, who organized, who was behind the leaking, of the private conversations? And assuming that all this is fake, who is behind the faking and spreading of this story on social media? Because spreading any story on social media, you need resources. Not any Tom, Dick and Harry can do that. We should already know why they did it. The reason was to put the ODM party at a disadvantage going into the Kibra constituency elections in November. And so that greatly narrows the suspects to competitors of ODM in the forthcoming polls. And who is the major competitor to ODM? Answer, I'm sure you already have it. Team Tangatanga faction within the Jubilee Party, who are fronting a candidate called MacDonald Mariga. That is why I said, right at the beginning, even before Mariga was cleared, that is why I said on this channel that MacDonald Mariga starts as favorite to win the Kibra constituency by election. Now, because I said that, some people are very sure I've received an envelope full of money from Team Tangatanga. Now, I will not waste my time defending myself, or telling you what I've always said on this channel. It is impossible to bribe me. There are some things I cannot do for any amount of money. But I will not waste time on that. I will just make it clearer, elaborate briefly on exactly what I meant. Now, let me start with a statement, that many of those who criticized me, and by the way, you're welcome to criticize me anytime, I don't have a problem. I'm just dealing with an issue here. There's something most of those who criticized me did not understand. And let me put it this way. It is not always the most popular candidate who wins an election. Fact. In fact, in Kenya, in my long years of covering politics, the most popular candidate rarely wins elections in Kenya. That is the truth. Statement number 2, to clarify what I said. To win an election, it is not enough to be the most popular candidate. No. Being the most popular candidate may only contribute 50% or less to your victory. Why? Because politics is dirty. This is national politics. This is not primary school elections to elect a class prefect. No, this is politics. Let me give you a quick example. There used to be a constituency called Lurambi North, and 2 candidates, Abwana Burudi Nabwera, this was the late 70s, and Joshua Angatia, were battling it out as the front runners for this seat, parliamentary seat. Late in those elections, it became very clear that the most popular candidate for Lurambi North at that time was Bwana Burudi Nabwera. Joshua Angatia was trailing. And then just before people were supposed to vote, just before voting day, one of the chief campaign managers of Bwana Joshua Ngatia was found murdered. It later emerged that this person was actually murdered by his own guys, by the Ngatia people. Why? Because no voter was going to believe that the campaign manager of Burudi Nabwera's opponent was murdered by his own people. Everybody will assume that this person was murdered by the Burudi Nabwera team. Now, of course, a deep thinker would have asked a very simple question that would have resolved this. The question would have been, why would a popular candidate who is way ahead and leading and clearly going to win the election murder an opponent's campaign manager? What for? What would they gain from that? Well, unfortunately, voters the world over don't think or rarely think that deeply. So guess what happened on election day? Bwana Joshua Ngatia emerged victorious with a landslide. He won those elections. And that was the end of Bwana Nabwera's wild popularity in this constituency. Indeed, he only returned to parliament when that constituency was divided into two, or rather a small constituency was hived out of the bigger constituency. And this smaller constituency was called Lugari. Because every election cycle, people remembered, oh, this is the candidate who murdered the opponent's campaign manager. Period. We're not going to vote for him. My friends, that is politics. And I gave you that story just to illustrate a key point. Because even a popular candidate has to be very careful and find ways to deal with tactics, usually very dirty tactics, from the opponents, in order to emerge victorious on election day. It's not as easy as just being popular and you win. No. And so my verdict or my prediction or my analysis that if elections were held today, Bwana Mariga would win was based on the backing Bwana Mariga has and what his backers are capable of. How far they can go to win an election. And in my view, this latest development within the ODM party, this latest revelation, so-called revelation, whether fake or not, is very obviously a move by the opponents of ODM in Kibra constituency. You can imagine the effect this thing is going to have on the ground. And it is relevant whether it's true or not. And ODM supporters had better pray very hard that it's not true. Because if it is true, let me not say anything. And I guess I don't need to, because it's obvious. You can imagine a party with an unpopular candidate who has been nominated. All the other people with the bad feelings, all the other members of ODM who feel cheated, how do you think they're going to vote on election day? Whether they're staunch Raila Odinga followers or not, how do you think they're going to vote? What? I also said, actually I've said that more than once, that this Kibra constituency election is going to be one of the most interesting in recent times in Kenya. To be very honest with you, I was expecting people to start seeing that in another 2 or 3 weeks. But actually, it has started happening immediately. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.